Greetings. Welcome to Monday.
Afternoon.
Somebody respond back to me. I want to make sure you can hear me.
Greetings.
Yeah, we're good.
Hello? We're
All
good.
right.
We
Greetings.
can
Excellent.
hear.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
we can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
I hear
Awesome.
you.
Hello.
All
You're here.
right. It's working. This thing's on. Thank you all for coming. I know some of you may have not been in any of the previous meetings. So, very quickly, my name is Mike Barley. I am your instructor for these e-learning courses. And this is our first official class style meeting. So, welcome. Some of the things I wanted to catch tonight is first of all, I think we need to do a little housekeeping and explain some things about how to navigate the capacitor platform and make sure everybody understands that. And then I do have teaching time that I'm going to go through. I do want to address one thing I have noticed, kind of did a um, little looking around on the site, and I have quite a few of you that have not started any of your work yet. And I understand some of you, because we have had some late enrollment. Some of you probably maybe just got enrolled, so you're just kind of getting started.
Then put no
Um,
more people on.
so
Full, full.
no, we'll fix that.
Uh-huh.
There we go. We hit the mute all button. Anyway, so there's several of you haven't actually started their work yet, and just want to encourage you to get started right away because this will pile up on you hard if you're not careful. Um, I also will be monitoring as we go along that that everyone is staying up with it and not waiting to the last minute. That's not something that I'm going to hate to use the word tolerate, but tolerate. I like everybody to stay on top of it. Each time we have these meetings like this, I intend to do teaching, discussions, answer some questions, things like that, and try to be as interactive as possible as we can be, regarding a virtual program like this. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, looking at the platform, first of all, I wanted to say, those who've actually started looking at the work, I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, right here, each day there is a code graphic of the day, code question of the day. I would get in the habit of looking at those every day because those are great little nuggets of information that you can use to begin familiarizing yourself with the National Electrical Code. We don't get into the National Electrical Code until a little bit farther down the road, but not far. Um, and then we'll spend a lot of time in it. So I'm going to pull down here to, and my desktop looks different than yours because I have a number of different classes that are under my care as a administrator. So if we go to level one e-learning, I'm just going to click on that. I believe it says on yours, enter class. Mine says view the class. And these assignments here at the very top are all from the book that you have in your book pack called the JJ Safe OSHA Construction Safety Handbook. Now, I think there might be a handful of you, and there's a lot of little icons on my screen here, so I don't know who's who. Some of you just got enrolled. You might not have books yet. Obviously, that's in process. Some of you might still be waiting on getting books. There was a big push out of books to some contractors at least a week ago, and so there might be a few of you that's in that case. And I wanted to explain clearly that first of all. This book, this J.J. Keller book for construction site safety, that book is not on the platform. The majority of the other books that are in this program are in electronic form. Anything that's Mike Holt is the author of is also in electronic form on the site, and I'm going to show you specifically where to find that. So, I would also recommend, I should have said at this beginning, make sure you got a pad of paper and something to write with because you may want to take some notes on this. And I would always do that whenever we have meetings like this. So, but very quickly, this is your assignments. The first five, I believe, are all safety, and there's not necessarily a PowerPoint teaching. I think there may be some on there for the teachers, but for the students, basically, you are to go through and read the segments under that heading in the book and go in and just answer those questions. If you have not gotten your books yet, then skip past the safety ones and go ahead and start in the electrical ones, which is, you see the very first assignment there, atomic structure. That is in the Understanding Electrical Theory book, and you can find that book electronically on the site, which I'm going to go to here in a second. But as you go through each one of these assignments, you'll notice, for those of you who've already got in there and got into it, and many of you have, there are questions to be answered. That's part of your engagement, reading to be done, videos to be watched. All of that is a part of the experience. And you are to watch all of the videos, and some of them are short, some of them are long. Just depends on the subject matter. So, but you have, and I'm going to page down here just to show you all of these that are in, they're in white or like a grayish color. This is all open up until right here, where it says 2023 Level 1 Module 2 Term Quiz. That's your my Christmas gift to you, a 50-question test right at Christmas break. So that's where it stops. And, if you rush through all of that, I suppose you could get done earlier, but that's what you have to have done by Christmas. And then January, New Year's Day, I'll go in there and open up the other half of those. That's the second semester. And no, we do not open up all of those for you to just attack and do what I would consider too quickly and not really drink in the material as you should. That's why we do it that way. So back up here at the top, I'm going to go to the home page. And over here to the left, it says review material. If you click on that, that will give you, I don't understand, everybody can see the screen here, right? I should have asked that. Somebody tell me, yes, Mike. You can see it. Awesome.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can see it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mike.
I got an interactive group here. I can tell already. This is great. This is great. So the each one of these are all books, and I believe that you have the same books. Maybe you don't have access to all of them, but you certainly have access to all the books that are in your level. So if you page all the way down to the bottom, here is Understanding Electrical Theory. That's kind of the focal point for the time being for your learning. And if you click on that, it opens up, and then you'll see book, presentations, and videos. And, I'll click on the book. Here is Electrical Fundamentals. And man, I hope this doesn't drag. I'm having internet issues. I'm actually at my home, just to be honest with you. Yeah, that wasn't bad. And then there's the book. So, if you have not received your books, or let's say you're remote or you're at lunch and you're wanting to, kind of catch up, the books, as far as the Mike Holt stuff, is all online, so you don't have to worry about having that in hand. The videos, I'll go to that next, and then of course there are videos on all of these subjects, and trying to see if it actually has anything on the bottom here. Yeah, this one's 42 minutes, and obviously it's a little bit longer one. But I encourage you to watch them, because if you're not familiar with Mike Holt, and I assume many of you are not, there's Mike. He's doing the the video itself, and trying to make sure everybody's muted. And he's also interacting with some guys that are on a panel of experts that are, involved in asking questions and that sort of thing. It's a great way to help bring some of this stuff to the forefront. So yes, definitely hit the videos. And then the presentations. If I were teaching the class, then these would be the presentations that I would be using. And here's the PowerPoints. So this will open it up, and it shows you how many PowerPoint slides there are. And I am going to do a PowerPoint presentation. I'll get started here shortly. But nevertheless, those are on there for you also to be able to go through. My goal in these interactions is going to be that I will do PowerPoint presentations on benchmark subjects as we go through it. Now, obviously, we're all not going to probably line up on the same week. Everybody's doing series circuits on that week. It's probably going to vary. However, even if you've went past it, hearing it is certainly not going to hurt at all. And these are designed to have an opportunity for you to you know, make contact with a human being and ask any questions that you may have. You know, the core principles, excuse me, the core principles for first year is, of course, safety. You know, and the OSHA information there in the beginning is paramount. Secondly, is exactly what the screen says: electrical theory. And then thirdly, we will get you introduced to the National Electrical Code, which is the code book that you'll be using for your entire apprenticeship and your career. And you know, that's really the highlights of it. And we want to create some interaction time for that, to where you guys can actually ask questions and things like that. So that is kind of the rundown of where the information is. Your actual homework, where you're doing stuff and then turn around and submitting, is where I'd showed you earlier. And that is, again, I got a page down to get to your class. That is right here, where you have all these assignments. And if I were to click on this, here are the questions. Let me click on a better one. There you go. See, mine I'll show the correct answers because I'm the teacher. I was clicking on it wrong. This is the segment where you'll see, again, the reading, but you also, as you go through these, you have to answer questions. And there's videos over here that you can click on, that you can watch, that are interactive, or going to be on the subject that you're looking at the time. You try to skip to the next page, it's going to ask you the question. I'll just throw one out here. Of course, that was the wrong answer. And then it'll give you a reference. There you go, electrons. So, and then moving on. So that I just really, some of you already done a lot of work on it, some of you haven't, and I wanted to make sure that you kind of had an idea of what was going on as far as how that actually works. So I am going to switch gears here and get over to the teaching portion of this. And I'm going to go down to understanding electrical theory. And I have chosen tonight to jump into really a foundational piece. And it's not really too long, so it's perfect for this. The electrical system, which is Unit 4. So let's get into that. We'll stop and get a drink. Hope you don't mind.
I have a question.
All right, sir, go right ahead.
Mine's, it only shows me book and videos. I don't have the other two tabs.
It's only showing you books and videos, okay? And your name? Can't tell who that is.
Stephen Perez.
Stephen Perez. Books and videos only, okay. Does anybody else have that? Okay.
Yeah, mine's that way too.
Okay.
Yep. Same.
Mine is
Okay.
too.
Same.
All right. Well, I will check into that. So books and videos only. Okay. Well, nevertheless, I'm going to get started into Unit 4 here, the electrical system. So let's see where this takes us. So in the introduction, of course, I mean, and you can see where this is. We're kind of giving, as it says here in this, you can see the big picture, kind of where things begin. In the next meeting, we'll talk about more getting into electrical theory, Ohm's law, and those calculations and that sort of thing. So knowing how electricity gets from the utility generation plant to a building provides a better sense of the big picture. And in this unit, we're going to learn about electricity and how it's generated, transmission and distribution voltages, and how electricity gets to a customer's premises. So the primary energy sources used to generate electricity include fossil fuels, nuclear energy, and renewable energy sources. And there you go. Turbines, and these are turbines like in a like Hoover Dam. You know, it is mechanical force is creating electrical energy is really the statement there. The same thing with renewable energy with wind turbines. So once the utility has produced electrical energy, the voltage from the generating plant must be stepped up to be transmitted as efficiently as possible from the generating facility to where it is needed. So, for example, there was a power plant here close to where I'm sitting now, and it's a very large power plant. But they made, I think it was a coal-fired plant, and they made about 4,000 volts of power. But they would step it up to 250,000 using a transformer, and then transmit it across the countryside. That was the issue with going back a little bit with Edison and Tesla and creating, the electrical system that we know today, is that Edison wanted to use DC, which if we would have used DC, you'd have to have a booster station or a substation every mile or so. Whereas with alternating current, you can boost it up and transmit it for long distances and then drop it back down to the usable voltage, as you might say, once it got closer to where you wanted it to be. High voltage transmission lines. The most economical way to transfer electrical energy from the generating facility over long distances is to transmit the electrical energy at high voltages to distribution step-down substation transformers. The most effective way to reduce voltage drop and power loss is to lower the current flowing through the transmission lines, which is accomplished by increasing the transmission voltage. So once high voltage transmission distribution power reaches the step-down substation, the voltage is stepped down from transmission voltage from maybe 69,000 to 765,000 kV to primary distribution voltage of 13 kV to 34.5. Primary distribution wires are run from the step-down substation to distribution transformers. And if you look at this, here's the primary distribution feeders up there at the top. And then you have the distribution transformers. And notice where it says the secondary distribution line. This line is, the utility companies. In most cases, the utility company is responsible for what is termed as the service drop. In other words, it's dropping here to the service mast on this structure, and then down into the meter base, through the disconnect, and into the structure. On the other side here, you have what are called service laterals, and that is the lines when they're run underground over and again to the meter base through the disconnecting means and into the structure. So, underground utility primary distribution wires provide power to ground pad-mounted distribution transformers located near the building or structure served. It also could be what's called a handhole or a splice box. And those boxes are basically a large fiberglass box, oftentimes, that actually allows conductors or even pipes to come up inside of it, and there are splicing right there, and then it goes out and goes to the building. Isn't always a transformer. Secondary. Utility transformers convert primary utility distribution voltage to secondary distribution voltage. And this is a great segment right here to make note of. The primary voltages that we deal with as electricians is, and they're what are termed as nominal voltage ratings. 120 to 240 volts, 120 208, which is commonly three-phase, and 277 480 volts. Now, 120 240 is really the common voltage that you would see in the residential application. 120 208 would be oftentimes a three-phase application, in a commercial application, and 277 480 volt. Kind of in the same sector there, but also in the industrial sector. Now, why is it 277 instead of 266 or 260? The utility companies are required to send what we would call the nominal voltage rating, but I like to use the term tolerance. In other words, if you understand tolerances, it's plus or minus. It could be a little bit less than that. It could be a little bit more than that, but it has to be within this window. Because if they were to send instead of 120 volts to your house, they send 140 or 150 volts to your house, it's going to burn out all your bulbs and damage your appliances. So, the systems and the utilization equipment that's in your home, for example, are rated for a certain amount and no more. At the same time, they have to have a certain amount. They can't send 90 volts to you and expect for your equipment to operate correctly neither. It's designed to operate within that tolerance. Power from the utility distribution transformers is delivered to the customer by utility overhead and underground wiring. Well, we know that. And this is a good example. The riser coming up out of the overhang there, we'll say. This is all the electrician or the structure owner's responsibility. And then from this point out, this is the service drop. Typically, the utility company is responsible for those lines. At the same time, the service lateral, the underground, depends on really actually where you are. In Kentucky, for example, which we're very close to, the underground lines coming from the serving utility up to the house are actually we'll say in a residential application, is the homeowner's responsibility or the electrician's responsibility to install. In Indiana, where I'm at it as we speak, Duke Energy or REMC, the local utility companies, they actually install those lines and maintenance those lines and maintain them. And it's not the customer's responsibility to maintain those. So, knowing how electricity gets from the utility generation plant to a building provides a better sense of the big picture. And in this unit, we learned about how it's generated, transmission and distribution voltages, and how electricity gets to a customer's premises. So, nice little easy nugget there to digest for Monday evening. And that's kind of really where I wanted to start at. So I want to ask this because I'm kind of curious, if I have some of the new guys that have just enrolled, is there anybody in here that is maybe just enrolled in the program within the last week to 2 weeks?
Yes, I just enrolled here probably 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Do you have books?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. And that's
I
really
enrolled
kind
2
of.
weeks ago. I enrolled 2 weeks ago and I got my books.
Okay.
I enrolled about 2 weeks ago as well. I emailed you yesterday because there was a bunch of confusion. I was going to be given a Spanish book.
Oh yeah, okay. I've got your paperwork here somewhere. Yeah, you were at the Indianapolis office or something, and I think they were. The Indianapolis ABC has I believe some Spanish classes. We don't have any of those in Kentucky, or at least not yet. That's in the process of being put together. But yeah, I don't know how helpful that'd be especially if you didn't speak Spanish. But
I enrolled pretty much as soon as the program had opened to be available to enroll in, and I still have not yet seen my books.
Who is the company that you work for, if you don't mind me asking?
Gaylor Electric. We were told that they are on their way. The Spanish books have come, but the English ones, some kind of delay or something happened with them.
Are you in Ohio?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, there was a large package that I just sent within the last 2 days, and I would imagine they're coming to you, is what it is. There was a huge push with a bunch of books going to that particular company, and so that's and then there was some that we didn't have enough. We have just to be honest with you guys, we have left the enrollment open, trying to let as many people as possible into it. And that as a result, we ordered tons and tons and tons of books and pushed a bunch of them out. Still wasn't enough, so we had to make another push. I think we're really about down to maybe just a few more, because we did allow a few more people in actually today. One of the things I'm going to be doing tonight is I'm actually going onto the website. I manage our ABC website, and clicking the button that I'm shutting down enrollment. We are somewhere in the neighborhood of 275 students in our e-learning program. And, I actually manage all 4 of those classes, and I'll be doing this with all 4 levels. So, it's business is good in the apprenticeship business, but getting books out to everybody, especially a lot of you guys some of you aren't either at the same address week to week, or you're moving around, or, working with a travel base, and it's hard to get them to you. So, but I think that we are just about beat that down. So,
Awesome. Thankfully, I do have OSHA through my contractor, so the first part of the test wasn't a huge issue. But the rest of it, I have been able to use the online books, and I can vouch that they are very useful if you don't have your books yet.
Great, thank you, thank you. And you can see where it's really hard for me to convey that to somebody until we get in a meeting like this, and I literally just showed you, click on this, and hopefully everybody was taking note. And so, and these meetings are going to be, I mean, it looks like there's almost 80 people in this Zoom meeting, and there's somewhere around 120, I think, in the first year class. So, it's very difficult to kind of convey all that, and that's why I've been running the e-learning for several years now, and I really wanted to step up the engagement and things like this with students. So if you talk to anybody who's been in the program in the past, they might say, yeah, we were kind of out there and we didn't have that much contact. That's over. My goal is to have these meetings per the schedule, which I would hope everybody got the schedule. If for some reason you didn't, don't hesitate to shoot me an email and I'll be happy to send one to you. But everyone should have the schedule as to when these meetings are. And I intend for them to be a teaching meeting to where, if you've got questions, make note of them. You can email me, but you can also ask me in these meetings like this. And I intend to do teaching to where we can connect with our students as much as possible. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We evidently have a big need in the field that, a lot of individuals that need this type of learning. And I would venture to say the majority of you are in this because you may be in a travel base or work for a contractor that is difficult to get to class each week. And I would much rather do this than, be fighting with you about your attendance because they got you out of town. And that's what we ran into a lot. So this is something that, it was a result of COVID, to be honest with you. So, but in the next week, I intend to have, the next one will be on Ohm's Law. We'll be talking about electrical measurement. We measure electricity using mathematics, and we measure electricity using testing equipment. Not every one of these meetings will be like this to where it's just me talking head, sitting in here in my, if you can see behind me, my lovely apartment in Boca Raton. No. Actually, I'll be doing some remote stuff from my lab at I teach at a career and technical education school in New Albany, Indiana, and we'll be doing some demonstrations, try to get a little more interactive. As I'd said, we measure electricity with mathematics and with testing equipment. And, I intend to do some testing to kind of show that as much as possible, along with lots of other things. So we have a lot of resources available to us to make this, to maximize this, I guess you would say. And that is my intent to do it. So,
Hi,
yes.
my name is Sharon Gershom. I work with Gaylor Electric.
Okay.
My work signed me up for this class. I got a bag of books. I'm not sure if I have all of them. The first book you mentioned, does not appear that I have. There was one piece of paper in here and it doesn't include the website that you're on. So I don't even know where to go to even look at the testing material. I went to mycolt.com. I don't know if that's where I'm supposed to be. Then I have Workforce Flashpoint for a login. And that just looks like basically my information. And then there's my education. But again, this website doesn't look like your website. So before we end it, I need to know exactly everything that I need to know to get started.
If you go to, well, first of all, you should have received when did you enroll? Let me ask you that.
I don't know. My job enrolled me probably about a month ago.
Okay.
And I just
good
got
enough.
books like last week.
Yeah, that tells me where you're at. Okay. So you should have received an email from Mike Holt Enterprises asking you to set up an account. If you did not receive that, then
Which I
you need
did,
to tell me.
and I set up Flashpoint.
Okay,
That's the only thing I
Flashpoint and capacitor are not the same two things. Flashpoint is basically for, I believe, taking care of your on-the-job training hours and that sort of thing. What we're talking about is the online platform capacitor. So did you receive something from Mike Holt or in order to set up the account? I think you said yes on that, right?
I only got like 3 or 4 emails, but the only one that I had to set up, I just figured it was this one. So if there was another one that said set up another account, then no, I did not do that.
Okay. Hit me with your name again, if you would, please.
Sharon Grisham.
All I can see is your initials. Nobody's
Sharon
showing their face except
Grisham.
me.
SharonGrisham.
Okay. No access to capacitor. Okay. And I'm sure I already have your email address in our system, so I will send out a link to you via email. So be sure and check your email, and that should get you set up. If not, when I send you my email, you'll have all my contact information. So we will get that squared away.
All right. And then
but
what
you do
about
have-
the books? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books.
Good
And the
God, sound like you should
closest
have enough.
You said it was edition 6. Is it OSHA Construction Safety Handbook? I have 7th edition.
No, the one you have will be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, sounds like you got the right book set. You're a first year student, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Then yes, you should have. Sounds like you got the right book set. And we just need to get you connected on capacitor, and that should do it.
Okay.
And I've made a note of that now. I'll send you an email, and then we can kind of communicate, from that point as far as getting you connected on the capacitor. Is there anybody else like that? I'll just throw myself under the bus. Anybody else like that has that issue?
So, sir, Kevin here. Kevin Tan. It's also named as Intel Tan. So my system only shows the book and the videos as well.
Okay, got that. Yeah, I'm actually going to email Ryan Carlson with Mike Holt and ask about that, why that is. So, it sounds to me like there was numerous people that had that problem. So I'm going to contact the people at Mike Holt directly about that.
Gotcha. Thanks so much.
All right. Anyone else? Somebody else I think had something to say.
Yes, sir. The same thing with my situation with Roger Lyons.
I'm sorry, what?
Roger Lyons, the same situation.
Yeah, I heard LaRoger Lyons. What was your question, LaRoger?
The same, I'm going through the same situation. I need the email that you
Oh,
for
okay.
the class.
Okay. You're same as Sharon. You have a access problem, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, and that's why I'm saying I'm not asking anybody to rattle off their email for the whole class or whatever, but I will. I'm sure your email is in our system, so I'll make contact with you about that.
Yes, sir. I sure appreciate it.
All right. All right. Anyone else?
Is the code book still on back order?
Yeah, I know I probably have a handful of you guys. I think I have a total of 19 code books that I have now. I mean, they just came in yesterday, so I've got to go hit a UPS store and send them all out. And I'm not straight up. I'm not freaking out about it because we won't touch the code book for a little ways down the road. So you're not in danger of being behind or not having a book you need because we're going through basic theory over the coming weeks, so it's a little bit farther down. But at any rate, I'll have them in the mail here, probably midweek, I would imagine. I'll be able to get them out there. So, yeah, you should have yours probably by the weekend, I would think, unless you're really, really far away. Yeah, getting the code books is something else because we try to buy them from the NFPA. The NFPA are the writers of the National Electrical Code, National Fire Protection Association, and they are just extremely slow. So, kind of is what it is. And we bought a bunch of extra books because we knew we were going to have a big influx of students, and boy, did we. So, all right, who else? Who else has got a question for me?
On the topic of the books and by extension the access to the online books, I have noticed that trying to use mobile to access those books, it has some weird contrasting with the colors makes it very hard to read. I have to turn on the negative color mode to actually be able to even decipher anything on it. You said you were going to be getting in contact with some people on the Mike Holt platform. Is there a way that you'd be able to ask them about mobile accessibility as well?
I can ask them about that. I mean, are you talking about doing this on your phone or something?
Yeah. Sometimes I just don't have a laptop on me to be able to actually go on a computer desktop version of it, and the mobile app version of it, or not app, but mobile browser version of it has some weird rendering to the pages of the books.
I'll certainly ask them about that. And you probably really expect me to say this. I would try to do as much of this as possible on a tablet or something of that form at the very least, because I think it's easier to see the graphics. I mean, on a phone, some of the graphics are going to be super tiny, but I totally get a lot of you guys are in this program because you are remote, so kind of is what it is. But hey, I have no problem in the Mike Holt people are super great about they want to know if there's any issues like that, so they're always looking for a way to improve their systems, and they regularly do. So yeah, I'll throw that out to them too.
Awesome, thank you, sir.
What else? So one of the books that are in your book set is also a book called Branch Circuit Wiring and Switch Control, and that is a book that is really designed for the lab. One of the things that we're going to do is we'll actually do some things like this, only I'll be in the lab and we'll do some demonstrations and try to explain clearly how that portion of it, branch circuit wiring, which is really foundational to the electrician, which is the branch circuits that you see in a building, in any building, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, receptacles, lights, that sort of thing. Understanding how those operate, three-way switches, four-way switches, ground fault circuit interrupters, obviously that is all a very important part of the level that you're in. And as you progress, we want to make sure we cover that. So there will be some interactive stuff that we'll do throughout the year that'll be involved in branch circuit wiring. So if you're looking at that book going, I don't know how I'm going to do that, we're going to do what we can to actually touch base with that as best as possible. So, anybody else got any questions? Looks like we had a total of around 78 in here at one time, so that's a pretty decent showing. Well, I don't really have anything else, so I mean, if you don't have any other questions, then I'm going to let it go for today. We do have another meeting scheduled. I think it's in 2 weeks. Believe it or not, I'm not sitting there looking at the schedule. And of course, if you do not have the schedule at this time and maybe you haven't received your books, then you can email me and let me know, and I'll send you the schedule itself. If you have I would only assume that you have the availability of my email. It's mike@abcindianakentucky.org. But if you do not have that for some reason, you can go to the abctraining-ky.com website, and I believe you can find my email on that website also. That's where you actually went to enroll to get into the program. Okay? All right. Well, if no one else has any other questions, I am going to call the meeting for today and encourage you to get to work on that. In our next meeting, we're going to be talking about electrical theory. So you guys have a great evening. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Later.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.